Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 o'clock Tea Talk. I'm your host, Seda Tekeci, former chief editor of Coach Magazine Global, Jungian life coach, and passionate advocate for meaningful personal and professional transformation. Over the past 3 years, I've had the joy of hosting some of the most inspiring voices in the coaching world, thought leaders, pioneers, and deep thinkers whose work is shaping how we understand growth, leadership, and human connection. And today is another special episode as we continue this journey together. Before we begin, it's a real pleasure to introduce our guest for our today's 5 o'clock tea talk. Dr. Mahuya Kanjilal is a senior lecturer in health and social care at the University of Wolverhampton and a dedicated social researcher specializing in community participatory research. Her work focuses on migration, minority ethnic community experiences, community safety, and gender equality, bringing forward voices that are often unheard. She has presented her research at both national and international platforms, including the United Nations Commissions on the Status of Women, and is deeply committed to making research accessible beyond academia. Through digital storytelling, videos, and documentary films, including her award-winning work, Grey Side of the Sky, she creates powerful bridges between research and real human experience. Beyond academia, Mahuya has been a lifelong advocate for women's empowerment. She founded International Women of Chiltern, supported communities as a trustee for rape crisis, and currently contributes as an ambassador for Haven, a domestic abuse support organization. Her work is not only about understanding the world, but actively transforming it. Today, we are delighted to explore themes of migration, identity, belonging, and community impact with someone who brings both deep research and lived compassion into her work. It's a true pleasure to have you with us, Mahua, today. How are you?
Thanks for the beautiful and your kind words and introduction. I'm fine, and thanks for inviting me to your 5 o'clock tea talk. And I do have my cup of tea with me, so yeah, and I'm going to enjoy this talk with you. It's a real pleasure. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. This is our 35th episode, actually. I've started this journey 3 years ago, and I'm so glad that we've almost done once a month programs like this. And it's always beautiful for our audience to hear from different experts from around the world. And today, here with you. And my first question comes. Your work sits at the intersection of migration, identity, and community. What first drew you personally into exploring these themes so deeply?
Thanks for these questions. I think I am by education a geographer, so migration. I'm always interested in the topic of migration, but the motivation actually came from my own experience. I think the answer to your questions lies in my own lived experience. So I migrated. In the UK, when I migrated, before that, I was already an established researcher and I've already had a PhD. But after coming to this country for 5 years, I really struggled. I didn't had any job, and everything I tried, I got rejections. So, I mean, that first 5 years experience actually taught me that no matter the skills you have, the degrees you have, migration actually changes you. Migration actually tests your resilience, your strengths, and it builds you, it molds you. And during those 5 years, I was trying to get a job and even a part time job, full time job, no matter what. I wanted to get back into employment. But I didn't sit still, actually. I started volunteering in a district council. I joined a community cohesion forum. I took every volunteering opportunities I could. I was part of independent advisory group of Thames Valley Police during that time. I started a women's international women's group of children to learn from their experiences. So yeah, and during those early years, what I realized, I'm not the only one. There are several women who actually migrate to different countries, and they are going through some difficulties, and it's historic. It's not now. It's been actually it's been long time, isn't it? So, and because I was a researcher and I'm still a researcher, I wanted to learn more about their journey. So that's when I started my ethnographic research on British Asian women, Grey Side of the Sky. And I interviewed women of three generations. I wanted to learn about what happened when they first came, what was their problems, and how they survived. So I actually learned from their experience. So yeah, that was the beginning of my journey. And to be honest, my first research in this country, Grey Side of the Sky, actually opened up so many opportunities for me after that. So it was worth trying. But as was probably understood now, that the motivation came from my own experience, and then I learned from other women.
Yes. That brings me my second question. As a researcher committed to participatory approaches, how do you ensure that the voices of minority communities are not just heard, but truly shape the narrative?
Yeah, I'm sure you have heard there is a term, hard to reach, isn't it? And especially that term is quite common in if you are working with the communities, community engagement, or in academia, because there are some communities, no matter whether they're minority ethnic communities or vulnerable communities, their voices are not so much heard, or it's very difficult to engage them in research or engage them with wider communities. That's quite common knowledge. But while working with different communities, minority ethnic communities, women, British Asian women, as I was sharing with you, or vulnerable communities, like people with disabilities, sorry, what I realized, there is a fear from those communities of how we, like researchers, we use their data. So usage of data is a huge fear. So what data is for us? It's actually their lived experiences, is their stories, is their views. So we have responsibilities to use those data, their experiences, with responsible and giving something back to them, showing them that this is how your views is changing. Your views are actually knowledge, creating knowledge. And that is why I adopted participatory research methods, research approaches. So I usually adopt either different types of participatory research, like peer research, community participatory action research. And in my research projects, those representatives from communities are not only participants, they are co-researchers. They co-design research questions. They like collect data with me and disseminate with me. It's a co-dissemination. So they sometimes create their own type of research disseminations, research report, and share. So it's empowering them to do that as well. So it's embedded in my research journey, in my research projects. So this is also another reason I actually learned to how to make documentary films, because documentary films can reach actually people so easily. And if you are not in academia, or if you are not interested in, if you have only interest to read article, you would read research report or read research articles. But if you are not in academia or you don't have interest, you hardly read research reports. So research reports are not for wider communities. But as I said, I really wanted to give something back to the communities I was working for. So my work always been like working for them, not for them, sorry, working with them. So documentary films are way of giving something back and showing that their voices actually have power. So yeah, I am still trying to bridge the gap between academia and wider communities through my work. So their voices are very much embedded in my work.
Yeah, as you sent me the documentary, and I have the privilege of watching it, because of the responsibility of the narrative, one of the women didn't let you to, wide open broadcast the documentary film, but it was absolutely a mind-blowing, eye-opening work. Congratulations for that. And you presented your work at the global platforms like the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. What was the experience like, and how did it influence your perspective on impact and responsibility?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. That was quite a long time ago, not long time ago, but it was a huge privilege, to be honest, to present at UN 65th, actually, Status of Women conference. But unfortunately, that was during COVID, so it was not face to face, so it was online. But also, it was, although it was online during COVID, everything stopped, isn't it? It felt like life has stopped. But that conference showed that we are researchers, we are still working on same projects, similar projects, and gender issues didn't stop during COVID. There are still burning issues happening during COVID as well. So that was quite eye opening for me. And it's not only the UN conference. I've attended many international conferences, and I just came back from a conference from Turkey. And it's always amazing to see how different perspectives are telling the same information sometimes. And attending conferences is very important for us academics. But it's what I found, it's the discussions are very, very important. And it not only validates your thoughts, it's actually challenges your perspective to see what others are working, and is really, really empowering. So attending conferences definitely influenced me and broadened my horizon, motivated me to work on different issues, to see that how researchers are dealing with some of the burning issues. And it's also shows that although especially international conferences shows that although we are geographically located in different parts of the world, it's still human experiences are the same, and we all are working from our inspirations, and we are motivated to do something. We may not be able to change the world, but we still can work towards it. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely.
that brings me back to the topic of migration. It's a huge topic, and it's difficult for both, both, not both, like all the people, women, men, children, doesn't matter. But you put spot on the women's problems in the documentary, and it was like how many women, I don't know, in the documentary who's telling their stories. The name of the documentary, your documentary is Gray Side of the Sky, which I find it very, very good to start with the airport experience when they come to this country, and with the birds, flying. That was very powerful, and it reflects both research and personal journey. How did storytelling through film change the way you connect with your audience compared to academic writing?
That's a tricky question. Only because I do enjoy publishing my articles. I do enjoy writing articles and writing research reports. That's part of my professional identity as well. But there is a definite difference between storytelling and creating video reports than report writing. As I was saying before, that I wanted to reach wider audience with my research. And I think the difference would be more clear to you if I share some of my stories, some of the stories when I actually showed those films, not only Grey Side of the Skies, but other works as well. To start with Grey Side of the Sky, I remember after finishing the documentary film, one district council actually organized a screening for the community leaders for different service provider organizations. So after finishing the film, one faith leader, during the question and answer session, one faith leader said with his teary eyes that he never realized what his mom and elder sister had gone through during their first of the years after their migration. And this is the first time he is understanding through other participants' voices that what they had gone through, because they have gone through the same experiences. So it was quite eye opening for him. At the same screening, another service provider, practitioner came to me and said, Mahua, I can relate to the families I work with now more with your work. So it's the direct impact. It reaches you. It immediately brings those voices immediately. So it's not only the participants are talking, even the audience, they are sharing their voices. And same thing happened with another of my work, which is called My Life, My Memories, which is on dementia. And again, another research-based documentary films on ethnic minority communities' perspective on dementia and how they navigate, what are the challenges of accessing some support services when someone goes through dementia, their loved ones, from carers perspective. So again, after showing the film, so many people, audiences came to me and shared their experiences of caring for someone with dementia and the struggles they had. So it's always connecting with people. It connects with people so easily and widely. So that's the, I guess that's the strength, and that's the power of storytelling. And I'm sure the research report I write and articles I write, that also goes quite wider academia, and people read and people are using those work for evidencing their work as well. But storytelling, it's really, definitely different because you are connecting with your audience immediately and impact is quite immediate. So, yeah, I guess that's the difference.
Yeah, it's very powerful. Even when you know your story,
Yeah,
when you start from that base and connect the dots with the other people's experiences, it makes the experience and the effect much broader, much powerful. So,
absolutely. And those stories actually inspired me a lot and motivated me to do more for the
yeah,
communities.
yeah, we struggle in our own story, in our own experience. Like you said, cannot find any work, rejected for 5 years, and having that kind of initiation,
Yeah.
makes you empathy with the other people who first came to another country, different language, different culture, but maybe in the family trying to contain the same rituals, same culture with your own, country, but not adapting it to the new scene is all difficult. And seeing those things
Yeah.
and finding yourself not alone in this world is a very powerful connection.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've been deeply involved in women's empowerment, from founding community groups to supporting organizations working on domestic abuse. What have these experiences taught you about resilience and collective healing?
Actually, also from my experience, I think the answer to your questions lies in my experience. Is while I was going through my early years, and to be honest, I'm also a domestic abuse survivor, so I've always wanted to share my stories with others to inspire others, to motivate others. But while I was going through my early years, I was quite depressed. I was quite frustrated. And during those times, you feel like you have all the misery in the world, isn't it? It's like you are the one and everyone is better than you. But during those years, during my community engagement, during meeting with people, meeting with women, I realized that's not true. Women are going through so many difficulties, so many challenges. Still, they're smiling. Some of their life stories are so inspiring, so motivating, and that's actually kept me going during those years. And I found solace in my women's group, the women's group I created. And even though I say I created, it was a collective effort. So collective effort was there from the very beginning, and they supported me. And I guess I did that without even knowing that I'm supporting them or I'm inspiring them. And that always stayed with me. And even though I changed my home to one county to another county, I've always involved in community groups, especially women's groups. And currently I'm part of Heaven, and also I'm a member of Surptomist International's women's group to get to know what women are going through. And if I can do anything to support them, I would definitely do in whatever capacity I have. Yeah.
It's very important to change the narrative here, because women as the abuse, being the abuse side, think they are guilty, think they are shameful, right? They get all the shame on their shoulders, wear it as a dress, and feel depressed. But this French woman, 2 years ago, who go public, how her husband made her get pills and get raped by other
Mm,
men publicly, and she is a grandmother. She has children and
mm,
grandchildren, and she wanted to change the narrative that this is not her fault. Like this
no,
she shouldn't be the shameful person. Like whoever get this thing get should be punished. So I find it very powerful. She's very brave, but not every woman has that kind of bravery. So being in the collective groups is very helpful in this kind of situations.
oh, absolutely. Because you get to listen to other stories, which are very, very powerful. And you see that women have more strengths than they actually think they have. it's very, yeah, it's really, really inspiring sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. For the last question, for coaches and practitioners listening today, what is one mindset shift you believe is essential if we truly want to create inclusive, safe, and empowering spaces for diverse communities?
I think this is quite linked with your last comment, not question, but your last comments. It's, I think, not compromising identity, not compromising the dreams women's have, and their self belief, their true self. You know, one of the very famous Indian poet, I really like his poetry, and one of the lines he said that if you have dreams in your eyes, that means you are alive. So working towards those dreams is very, very essential. It's not waiting for someone else to create the path. If you have dreams in your eyes, works towards, first of all, recognizing your dreams, what your goals are, and work towards it. Do whatever you can, work towards it. Even though if you can't achieve those dreams in your frame of time, in your timeline, the journey is worth going for. And I have learned that from my own lived experiences. I think this is very, very important to understand what your calling is, and changing the mindset that someone will come and help me, but create your own path. Do whatever you have to do, learn a skill, do some trainings, and no matter what you have done in the past, you still can create your own path, your own journey to reach your dream, to reach your goal.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the main message is be brave, but if you don't find the courage, just find someone to hold hands with, right?
Yeah.
Be a community and go from there and never let your dreams go away. Is
No.
there any last message that you would like to add to this conversation?
I think I really love poetries, and I do have a book which is called Beautifully Brave. It's a collection of poems created by female survivors of sexual violence. And because we are talking about positivity and reaching to dream, I mean, reaching out to our dreams, and if it's okay with you, I would like to recite this poem, which
Please.
name is Positive by Mirabelle Hart. If you can't, you never will. If you won't, you will never tell. If you don't see oneself in a positive light, you will grow up thinking you are never right. If you see a deer so weak, will you help it grow up straight? If you see a baby fall, will you pick it up, however small? Why treat yourself as wrong and right? What makes you different to light your life so bright? If you can create a list so small to start your journey and have a ball.
Oh, thank you so much. It's beautiful. I think it will stay with us for the rest of the day. Whenever our audience watch this, they give themselves time to, deeply involve with this poetry. Thank you so much. And before we end this session, I would like to encourage our audience to hit the subscribe button on our channel for more insightful sessions like this. Don't miss out on the captivating 5 o'clock tea talk. Hit the ring button and remember to subscribe for more great content. Visit www.thecoachmagazine.com and enjoy our quarterly magazines. Thank you so much, Mahuya. It was a pleasure to have you in our 5 o'clock tea talk. Hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Ida. It's a great pleasure. Thank you.